and take a vagabond dream of a vagabond fool.
Good morning, I'm Lisa, this is Mark, and we're the Vagabond Dreamers.
We're sitting here today from beautiful sunny Tuscany, which meets every cliche you've ever heard about this beautiful place. But we're going to be talking about Cyprus. What were some of your favorite things about Cyprus, that island?
So many things, but my top three categories would be the hikes, the food, and the people. What about you, Mark?
Well, for me, not surprisingly, it's a really interesting historical place, and that probably is my most favorite thing. And I love the people too. There were so many great ones that we met. So we're going to talk a little bit about those. Why don't you talk about the hikes?
Absolutely. The hikes were so varied, and of course we were there 15 days. I didn't get to hike for 15 days, which is okay. But the hikes that I did experience were absolutely wonderful, challenging for most of the part, but also super diverse. I think my top two hikes would be the hike that Mark and I took, the Aphrodite trail, which was certainly a trail, but also it was an adventure. And I really loved the fact that Mark did it with me, but it was 4.5 miles of all sorts of terrain. We went through boulders, we hiked on very narrow descending trail. We just had such incredible views. So that was an amazing hike. My favorite hike, though, had to have been the Akamas Gorge for so many reasons. One, it was long, it was challenging, and I did that hike solo without any GPS. So I knew that I was going to have to be creative. I was going to have to meet people, because there really wouldn't have been a way for me to finish that hike had I not found a German couple that had access to GPS. The Akamas Gorge was incredible, and I'm happy to say that not everybody finishes it. Most people turn back about 1.5 miles in. I didn't. I was determined not to, and the pictures will not they won't be able to show you the incredible beauty of that gorge, but it was amazing. We did a couple other hikes too that were off trail. We got to meet some snakes, more up close than I would have preferred, not venomous. In fact, I was told by a Cypriot that they are the best snakes. They're friendly. Okay, fine.
All right, we're back into where the birds are scattering. I think they're grouse, but we're not.
Oh, okay, I'm done. Oh.
What was that, babe?
It was a huge black snake. I shouldn't be a wuss, but I am. So this trail is done for me. That is all in that grassy stuff. Oh, then I got this pile of shit. Okay, we're out. We're done. I'm done. I'll meet you at the car. Friendly from a distance is my preferred. We saw goats. We saw just so many things. So the hikes were absolutely just incredible.
Yeah, and we did make a video about the Aphrodite hike that we did together, which you can see. That's linked in the description. And I also got to do part of Akamas later in the week, and I didn't get to see all the things Lisa did, but it was really fantastic for sure. All right, so we got out. Lisa went, oh, here, Lisa's opinion of how I did this. It's more of those. You want to show us your legs, Lisa?
They are now officially your legs, because this is bullshit.
Yeah, there's a scratch there.
A scratch.
Oh, it's just a flesh wound. So this little trail that she's like, oh, this is easy. We've been up there, we've come all the way down, we've come all the way back up. Now we have to go all the way back down and back up because, oh, this is easy, she said. You know, after yesterday, 4 hours, 5 hours, 7 kilometers, you know, I said, let's take a day of rest. Oh yeah, this is a rest, she said. This is a rest hike. That's what she said. And there she's waving like this is fun. I mean, there's no doubt it's really good. No question. And it would have been really cool if I could have done this tomorrow or something and a day of rest. But no, that's not how we work. God forbid I want to go spend 20 minutes inside of a church or something. No. And that really underscores a lot of the geology of this island, which is so diverse and so fascinating. From the political standpoint, Cyprus is really an interesting place, and I could probably do an entire 30-minute video just on the history of this place. But know that just like many of the places in this region, it has a long history of being conquered and reconquered by Greeks and Romans, and you'll see some of that when we talk about Curium a little bit later. But the current political climate is one that was really fascinating. You might know that in 1974, the really repressive Greek junta, check out the movie Z, the Academy Award winner if you want to know how bad they were, decided to invade Cyprus and make it part of Greece. A big war ensued in 74, bloody, awful, with huge civilian casualties, and the remnants of that still live today. There's some kind of monument here, some art, and a soldier on the church grounds, which is also interesting. Okay, here we go. This is the names of the soldiers, National Guards and civilians who were killed during the fight against the troops in '64 in this little town. There's the whole list. So another war memorial over here. This is really a very highly charged and emotional issue for a lot of Cypriots. I'm assuming on both sides, but for Cyprus that lost so much territory to the Turks. Turkey essentially claimed about a third of the island, turned it into its own country. There's a border there and a no man's land between them. And there are a lot of hard feelings on both sides. About a third of the island would love to go and join Greece as a part of Greece. A third of them would like to be independent, and a third of them want to stay where they are. And so you can understand how tense it might be. There are UN observer troops there, and the British have a couple of naval and observation bases on the island as well. So while we didn't experience any sort of fear or anything about that, there's definitely an underlying thing. We were there on Greek Independence Day, and it's a national holiday in Cyprus to celebrate the independence of Greece, which I think is interesting. Greek flags fly in all the parts of the south that we were in. But I wished our hotel owner a happy Greek Independence Day, and he looked at me and he grumbled, well, Greek Dependence Day if you ask me. So that part it was really interesting. You were going to talk about the food.
Yeah, the food. I'm not a huge food experimenter. I like cake. And we got to enjoy some desserts. We had our first gelato, which now that we're in Tuscany, we have to compare. But the food was amazing and super affordable. So, I mean, everything from, we stayed on the coast, so lots and lots of seafood options. I don't like my seafood with the face on it, so I had shrimp at one point, but beyond that, just delicious meals, and they range from goat to chicken and seafood, and just really, really well prepared. So the food was great. I enjoyed the food. One interesting note was one night we stopped for pizza. And it was really, really good, but they served it with a side of mayonnaise and ketchup. And Mark and I just both looked at each other and went, oh, okay. We didn't choose to use those condiments, but we did do a little investigation into like how many people do choose to use mayonnaise and ketchup on their pizza. So
Well, that happened as a result of the second time we stopped for pizza the
True.
next week, and they served it with mayonnaise and
Again.
ketchup, and then we had to figure out what this was all about.
Right.
So Peter, the manager of the restaurant, explained to us. Okay, this is Peter.
Hello.
Say hi to John.
Hello.
Peter, John wants to know how many people actually put mayonnaise on their pizza.
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10 actually do it. And then what else do they put? How many put ketchup on it?
2 out of 10.
2. And how about the hot sauce?
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. But 1 out of 10 people put mayonnaise on their pizza. Okay, Peter, you're the owner?
No, I am the manager of the
You're
restaurant.
the manager of the restaurant. All right, well, there's your official word, John.
Schönen guten Tag.
You'll get to see that as well. In line with the history is the architecture. The churches, the Greek Orthodox churches, are just amazing in their detail. Again, I've made this point, I think, in a previous video, but you know, we so much in Western culture, Western European culture, celebrate the Renaissance as sort of the be-all, end-all to the evolution of art. And yet, the pre-Renaissance art that is really celebrated in the Greek Orthodox Church can't be or shouldn't be overlooked. The mosaics, which are everywhere, the icons. In every church you go into, these elaborate portraits of the 12 apostles, pictures of Mary, and you'll see here in the video stream a historical reference of an Ottoman beheading a Greek patriot. This is in the church, on the ceiling of the church, a very graphic representation of the conflicts between the Ottomans and the Greek Orthodox. The church we saw on the coast in Como was just breathtaking, not just because the church is placed on the end of this cliff looking out over the Mediterranean, but the elaborate artworks and things inside were really something. And that flips real quickly over to the town of Curium that we wandered through toward the end of our trip. Through that. All right, as Lisa just said, we're at Curium, which is just what?
a bunch of damn rocks.
Just on this amazing cliff overlooking these giant steep cliffs and into the water down below. So that's a fascinating mix of what humans did to an already impressive landscape. What about the people?
Yeah, the people. And you know, we find that wherever we go, the people are probably the best part of all of it. I mean, you can have a beautiful landscape, but mixed with beautiful people just is incredible. The Cypriots did not disappoint. Everywhere we turned, people were gracious and helpful. And I think to point, when we rented a car, and we rent a car most of the places we go, and it's always a little bit nerve-wracking for me because you can tell who's local and who's not. And in this particular country, they actually indicate the rental cars by a bright red license plate. That can be both yay and boo. The yay is that then you can identify who they are. The boo is like, oh, then you can identify who we are. But in this case, in Cyprus, they absolutely, most of the time, and I'd say like 99% if I had to do a statistic randomly, they looked at those red plates and went, okay, we're going to be compassionate, we're going to be patient, and we're going to be helpful because these are tourists who are not only vital to our country, but they don't know what they're doing for the most part. So that was a yay, very much so. We met
She forgot to mention, by the way, that you drive on the left in Cyprus, which adds to the anxiety of getting in there. And so having people who understand that you might be struggling a little bit, I think was pretty helpful.
Yeah. In addition, though, the Cypriots we met were, like I said, super helpful, super very relaxed, and that was a beautiful piece of being able to just kind of slow down and enjoy their island. But we met some people along the way that I'll just touch on briefly. One was Mayo from our Soli hotel, who was just a gem. Mayo was kind, and he was helpful, and he was gracious, and he smiled, and just anything we asked, which we try not to ask too much, was just accommodated so wonderfully, and we so appreciated his help. We also met a couple of women, one from Germany, Annika, and the other one from the UK, and that was Mary Lou, and just so very much enjoyed meeting people from other countries. We didn't meet anybody from the US, I don't even think we heard a US accent. We don't have one, but we didn't hear one. Anyway, we enjoyed their company, and then we actually got together the next day and had drinks and shared more time together, and now we communicate via WhatsApp and kind of exploring travel with them, and that was a beautiful thing.
And it really kind of underscored the fascination a lot of people had in this climate with Americans. I remember being down at the tavern in Larnaca, and the waitress being just amazed that there were Americans in their bar, and the owner came over and asked about it. But Mary Lou and Annika were super interested in the political scene. When we were climbing Aphrodite, we ran into two brothers-in-law, one from Greece, one from Cyprus. Absolutely fascinated. That's included in that video on Aphrodite. They called Trump the tsunami. They all want to know what's going on in our country. And while we didn't really want to talk that much about it, we couldn't escape those opportunities. We had to do it. The one guy I met that I was most fascinated with, and unfortunately I could never get back. I tried 3 times to set up a time to go and interview him more deeply. We call him affectionately the Donkey Man. He runs this a donkey rescue out in the mountains in Cyprus. He works by himself. He's 62 years old. Runs the entire farm all by himself, has 40-some donkeys. He's got hundreds of beehives. He has chickens, he has ducks, he has turkeys, all sorts of animals. He does this all by himself. But this is like the really typical rural, rugged man. You're looking at his picture. He's so proud of the work he does and so frustrated with the fact that he can't find anybody that wants to work. He's one of these old guys, like, oh, young people today. And he went on and on about that as well. He also had almost nothing nice to, no, not almost. He had absolutely nothing nice to say about the Turks and Turkish people and the Turkish side of the island. Lots of bitterness there on his part. But he lives by himself, runs this entire reserve and farm, and really had some great stories, which I wish I had captured a little bit more of.
Overall, our 15 days in Cyprus was too short. It's a country I would return to, concerned about their water shortage, concerned about their border. Those would be my only reservations. If I had to move anywhere, that would be my reservation on the country itself. But beautiful, beautiful place. Highly recommend visiting.
Well, they're doing some yard work behind us, so I guess this is a time to say goodbye. This is our last night here in Cyprus. It's been a great trip on a great island.
Beautiful country, great hikes, wonderful beaches, and even more wonderful people.
In the morning we leave for Greece for an overnight and then on to Italy and Tuscany and Florence.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Mark.
We're the Vagabond Dreamers.
And take a vagabond dream of a vagabond fool. I ain't too proud to beg, but I'm playing it cool. I can do the time, I can do the walk when I'm walking with you.
Nice and loud. Oh, blue.